Okay, calculate the lengths P and Q in the right angle triangles shown below. So you notice here there's two separate triangles, and they've got different lengths on them. So we're going to work out the length of P to start with on this one, then we'll go on to the second triangle. That's why I've drawn a line here, because it might be nice just to divide up our workings. So we focus on the left-hand triangle here. Again, just look at the diagram, you can appreciate it is right-angled. They've given you two sides, we can work up the third side using Pythagoras. So remember, Pythagoras' theorem, okay, is that c squared equals a squared plus b squared, and all you've got to remember then, which side is the c to start with, okay? Always label the c first, and just recall that the c is the longest side, okay? Right, it's the longest side, and it's opposite the right angle, okay? Right? So you can see visually that's the longest side, alright, but it's also opposite the right angle, which makes it the longest side. So that's my C, and then the other two sides you label A and B. That's your choice. You could call that A if you wanted to, and that B. Your choice entirely. So let's put the values in. Now on this side, this C, the side that's labeled C, they don't tell us what it is, they've just called it P, haven't they? So I'll write P instead, okay, because that's what the side C is, isn't it? That side C is actually the length P. So I'll put P squared equals, well, A then is 4.1, so it'll be 4.1 squared, and B then is 2.7, so 2.7 squared. Alright, so then get your calculator and type in 4.1 squared plus, what was it, 2.7 squared equals, so we get that there, fraction there, so press the SD button, get 24.1. Okay, now we're not quite done because that's P squared, remember, right? So to get P, you need to take that sort of square over the other side, and when you take the square over, you do the opposite. Whenever you take something over the other side, you do the opposite, and the opposite of squaring is square rooting. Okay, so all I've got to do on my calculator is press square root of 24.1, I can just press ants, and then it comes out to be there. So I'll round that to one decimal place, because these sides are given to one decimal place, so it'll be 4.9, won't it? That's 0, then means we round it down 4.9 centimeters. Okay, with the second one then, they ask us to work out Q. Now again, right, it's completely separate to this triangle, so we'll just ignore this now. But we write down Pythagoras formula, right angle triangle, okay, and they've given us two sides. But the most important step to start with is to label your C side, okay, as I've said before. And the side that should be labelled C is the one that's opposite your right angle. So this is the side that should be labelled C, okay, opposite to the right angle, and it's the longest side, isn't it? Okay, and then the other two sides then, your choice, you can label that A, that B, alright? Then substitute the values into the formula. So in this instance, they tell me what the hypotenuse is. We know that C is 14.6. Okay. A, well, it's just letter Q, isn't it? Okay, so Q squared. And then B is that one there, 6.2. So 6.2 squared. Okay. And then perhaps what I'll do then is, on my calculator, I'll just work out these separately, because they're on just separate sides. It's a bit different earlier, wasn't it? Because they were both together. So I could just do it all in one go and come out with this. This time I'll take my time, I'll put 14.6 squared, and I get 213.16 equals Q squared plus, and then we'll do the 6.2 squared, and that comes out to be 38.44. Okay, so take your time on it, okay, have each calculation in place, and then you've got to do a little bit of sort of algebra, a little bit of maths here to figure out how to get Q. And you just need to appreciate that you've got Q squared on this side, but you've got this number with it as well. So perhaps what we'll do is we'll take that number over the other side first, okay. So if we take it over, think about it, it'll become a minus, won't it? Because it's plus 38.44. So take it over the other side, it becomes a minus 38.44, and that will equal, well, I'll just be left with Q squared then, won't I? If I take that over, it becomes a minus. So calculations, take it away, okay, perform that subtraction, and I get 174.72 equals q squared. Now you might prefer to write it so you've got the letter on the left hand side, and that's okay. And then just as before, to get q you need to square root this, take the square over, square root, and you get your q. So if I press square root ants on my calculator, I get 13.2 centimeters.